everyone. Let me make sure I can share my screen and we will get started. Oh, that is not right. Try that again. There we go. All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our last town hall of the calendar year, middle of our academic year. Again, so good to see everybody. I know this is with Thanksgiving being so late and the winter break right around the corner, it's really crunch time during these couple of weeks. So appreciate everybody being able to be here. We've got some great information to share with you today. So I'm going to start off with, we always start off with our mission and vision. You'll notice here on this slide, something is missing, and that's because, ta-da, this is our newly approved vision statement. And so this came from all of the work that we've been doing over the past couple of months, and it was formally approved by the board on Saturday. So just want to read it really quickly. Of course, we don't have to read reading the slide is never fun, but I think this is critical because it is our new vision statement. So our vision is to create an innovative, collaborative learning environment that supports the diverse needs and goals of each scholar, nurtures a love of learning, and prepares them for future success. So again, this was the result of process where we started back in the spring and we did a lot of work around the retreat. We brought it back to our leadership teams and our scholars and our parents. We had multiple surveys that gave people the opportunity to provide input, and many of you did. And so thank you to everyone who participated in this process. We're in the process now of updating our vision statement on all of our website and our promotional materials. If you use the slide template, if you go into Google Slides and you say, start from template and you choose the Compass template, it has been updated. So you'll get the new vision statement on there. And so if you have things where you have that vision statement anywhere, just please make sure that you update it, and we'll be working on that in the next couple of weeks. So thank you all again so much for that important feedback. And we will make sure now that every year we'll review our mission and vision statement. So if you really feel like, hey, there's something that we didn't get in there, or there's a little change that we need to make, we'll have the opportunity to do that at the end of next year as well. And of course, we still have our Arctic values and our Compass agreements for our meetings. So I want to really focus today on the California dashboard results. And so this is new information that actually just became available right before the fall break. And the state has committed to providing this information earlier and earlier, because it is a challenge to have to make, be able to make plans and update our LCAPs and everything when it can take kind of long. And historically, we didn't get this data until December. So the fact that we got it at the end of November this year was really nice. And so I put the link in here, and I meant to share, the presentation is shared with everybody, and I'll drop the link in the chat when I'm done. So sorry, I meant to do that when I came in. If anybody's in there and you can share the link, please do, so that everybody has it. So this is actually a live link. When you click on the California dashboard link, and it gives you the ability to choose a school, if you just type in Compass and hit search, it'll bring up all 3 schools, and then you can select one. That's kind of the easiest way to do it. And so today I just want to give you some highlights. Our LCAP mid-year report is due in January. It's actually not due till February, but because we have our board meeting in January, ours is due in January. And so we will have a lot more information and kind of drill down into some of the specific data. But today I just wanted to give you a couple of highlights. So first of all, our wildly important goal of 100% of our eligible scholars will graduate I just wanted to pull out the graduation rates from all three of our charters. As you can see, Los Angeles made really great gains. So they have been in the red for the past 2 years. And because of that, we actually were a school improvement school. And we were also designated for differentiated assistance, which I will talk about in a minute. But as you can see, we're in the yellow this year, so that is fantastic. And we have almost an 80% graduation rate in Los Angeles. So that is amazing. And we know, we get a lot of scholars that come in like 10th, 11th, 12th grade. They're credit deficient. You all do a great job, and our counseling team does a great job of helping to identify those scholars, make sure that they are getting access to credit recovery. Our summer school program has been so successful, really helping those scholars cross the finish line. So great job, everybody, in working in LA. And just to give you a little bit of context for these measures, so you see there's a graduation rate, we get a color, and then it gives us the percentage, and it also gives whether we increased or decreased. And so that 79.7% is actually a 17.6% improvement from last year, and that helps to move the color. And then at the bottom, there's an equity report, which shows all of the different student groups. And it looks like everybody's in yellow. It's just that most of our scholar groups are so small that they don't get a color for the subgroups. So we did have one, I think it was only one, I think it was only socioeconomically disadvantaged, if I remember correctly, that was a big enough group that was in the yellow. And so, but the good news is that we don't have any of our subgroups in red. And so that's also an improvement. San Diego, we still have work to do. They're still in the red, so they most likely will be identified again for school improvement. But we did see an increase of 4.5%. And we'll be looking at our, scholars who were eligible for graduation last year and why they didn't graduate. And remember, it's a 4-year cohort. So this is really the first year that COVID year didn't impact us. And so that's a lot of reason. We lost a lot of scholars in that 2021 school year where they just kind of disappeared. So if scholars leave us and we know that they go to another school and we have that information, then they don't count as a dropout, they're a transfer. And so I know our records department and our STs work really diligently if scholars leave to make sure we know where they're going, because that is really critical. And so we'll continue to work on that. And then in YOLO, we didn't get a color because we didn't have enough scholars who graduated to generate a report. If there aren't enough scholars, then they don't give you a score, but that's okay. We can still see the percentage. So we're at 75.8% there, which was a 10% decline. But when we have such small numbers, it could be the difference of 1 or 2 scholars that changes that percentage. So we always have to be mindful of that. And when we have really small numbers, it can kind of make us swing one way or the other. And that can be a little challenging. We still need to use the data, though, and look at how we're doing and where we can improve. But again, big highlight here is the improvement in Los Angeles. And then, so this is San Diego. So this is the San Diego dashboard. And as you can see, doing pretty well in chronic absenteeism and suspension rate, still struggling in graduation rate. College and career is okay. And then in our English and math, we're in the yellow. I skipped over English learner progress because this is one of those areas that because we have such a small number of scholars, we are swinging wildly from one end to the other. If you remember, last year, our English learners were actually in the blue, in the highest possible tier. And this year, they've gone all the way the other way. And that's not because we suddenly, stopped providing excellent service to our emergent multilingual scholars. It really is about the pool of scholars that we have at the time. And this particular measure is based on how our emergent multilingual scholars are improving year over year when they take that LPAC test. So one of the kind of unintended consequences is when we have a lot of scholars do really well, like we did last year, then they're out of the pool. And so now like our highest achieving scholars, they kind of test out. And so now they're not in the data anymore. And then a lot of the ones that we have coming in are just new. And so they might not have advanced as much as the previous year. And I know Erin and her team will be looking at that information. I don't want people to feel alarmed, like, oh my goodness, something horrible happened and that's why we went down. We know we've been continuing to provide those services, but it is a very small number of scholars, and we'll definitely analyze, who is in that pool and what happened to drop us to that level. And we'll probably see it swing back up again next year, but it can be a little volatile when we have such small numbers of scholars. One other thing I really want to champion here is you'll see there's is it 5 categories? Those are our local indicators, and they all say standard met, yes. If you remember from last year, it said standard not met, not because we didn't meet the standard, but because our final board meeting last year, we had some challenges and we ended up having to have it a little later. And because we missed that deadline, it didn't matter that we actually met the standards. We were standard not met. So the good news is you have to have standard not met 2 years in a row in order for it to impact you negatively. So we've already nipped that in the bud, and now it's standard met this year. So great job, everybody. I know Danielle Gamez really helps me. We check this thing like over and over and over. We submit it, we check it again. We kept checking it to the last minute, just like making sure everything was in there and that we had done everything properly. And we did. And so we have met all of our local indicators. While we're on San Diego, I just want to give some updates on our charter renewal. So we had a team of people. Thank you to everyone that came out on November 12th. We drove out to the Mountain Empire Unified School District office, and we presented our charter they had the public hearing to the board. After that, the superintendent, Dr. Patrick Keeley, contacted me, and he asked for some additional information. We made sure they have everything, and their current recommendation is for renewal. So awesome. And the final meeting will be on December 17th, which is next week. I will be there. And once that meeting happens and the vote happens, then we will be approved. And that will be a 5-year term through June 30th, 2030. So again, yay, thank you to everyone who worked on that petition, worked on the presentation. We made sure we got everything, in well on time. We made sure that we had a timeline that allowed us to get our renewal, the decision, before winter break. So we will go on winter break knowing, hopefully, that our charter has been renewed. All indications are that it will be. So again, thank you for everyone who worked on that. As part of that work, and if everyone remembers, I'll just briefly go over it, because our Learning Center, our Orange County Learning Center, the OCLC, because they are actually located in the Santa Ana Unified School District, and they are not in the district where we are chartered, which is Mountain Empire, because they were under the San Diego charter, we had to first request permission from the district to stay there. And so we did that right away, and they denied us to stay there. And so we could not include them as part of the San Diego charter. So the San Diego charter did not include the Orange County Learning Center or any learning centers. So now what we have to do, and this is a very narrow exception, really just for circumstances like this, and many schools are in this circumstance, is to petition the Santa Ana Unified School District to get a charter with them just to continue operation of that learning center. And so we submitted that continuing charter petition. So it's not a new charter, it's a continuing charter, which is the only reason that we can get it, because otherwise there's a moratorium on non-classroom based schools. And so we submitted that on October 4th. They accepted it. And they sent a group of staff from all different areas of the district to come to the Learning Center on November 5th. The staff there did a great job. We had a tour. They got to really see the whole center. And they asked us a bunch of clarifying questions. We provided additional documents and answers after that visit. And so the public hearing is actually also on December 17th. And if you see that and you say, wait, weren't you just talking about December 17th for Mountain Empire? Yes. So unfortunately, they are on the same date. Greg Cohen and Keelan Armstrong and some of our other staff will be attending that meeting and presenting our presentation for the charter. And the decision on that will be on January 28th. So we are anxious to know what will come of that. And we are ready because if they do deny us, and we're really not sure what is going to happen, the OCLC does a great job. If you look at our data, if you take them out separately from the San Diego data, they will be a high performing charter school. I mean, they have just their assessment rates are off the charts. You know, their participation rates are high. And so we feel like it's a very good charter and that it has a chance of being approved. But if it doesn't, then the good thing is that we can then appeal to Orange County Orange County Office of Ed, and they will have the opportunity to approve us. And if they do, we will be able to continue with that learning center. And that really is our goal. And right now, it doesn't allow us to expand in any way or do anything different. It just allows us to continue operating that site as we have been. And so that's what our goal is, to make sure that we can still do that. If for some reason we go through that process and we don't get approved by the county office, we do also have the ability to appeal to the state. And so that would be our third and final opportunity. And we don't anticipate that it's going to go that far. Again, I think we have a really strong petition. The school is doing really well. We have a lot of support in the community. And so we wanted to make sure we got this process started early so that, again, if we find out in January that we're not approved by the school district, we have that time to appeal to the county and hopefully get approved so that our parents don't have to worry and they don't have any interruption in services. And so that's just a little update on San Diego and Santa Ana. So moving on to Los Angeles, and I shared a little bit of their data already. The LA dashboard looks really good. So you can see we have some greens and blues. I mean, our college and career is in the green. Chronic absenteeism, suspension rate is blue. We don't have a color for English learner progress because we don't have enough of our emergent multilingual scholars in that category. I talked a little bit about the graduation rate, and I'll expand on that in just a moment. And also, if you look at our English and math, we are up in the yellow now. So that is an improvement. And of course, we met our standards in all of the local measures. So just a couple of things about LA, because if you remember from last year, we are currently designated as differentiated assistants in Los Angeles because of our African American population, and that they were red in both graduation rate and in English and math last year. So the good news is that this year, they didn't get a color because there was only 4. So that's okay though, because no color is not red. And so that's good. That means they're not in the red. And of course, our overall graduation rate is yellow. And so that is really good. And we talked a little bit already about that increase. And so that's really positive. And we do just want to make sure, as we are looking at our seniors, that we're paying attention to all of those subgroups and really making sure that we're tracking them accurately and ensuring that we are not having any inequities, because that really is the purpose of this, right? We want to make sure that our African American scholars are graduating at the same rate as all of our scholars. Again, difficult because we only have 4. So if only one of them, goes, we're down to a 75%. But it is important to track that information and make sure that we're providing support. And I also mentioned that they were, our African American population was in the red for English and math last year. And we can see we did get a number for this year, and they did much better. So this information also gives us where we are now and whether we increased or decreased in the number of students, scholars for us. And so in English language arts, we had 417 of our scholars test. And remember, the CASP is grades 3 through 8 and grade 11. So it's not all of our scholars, but it's just those grade levels. And they're 32.4 points below standard. And so these measures are, it's called a distance from standard. So they look at, where is the standard for the grade level? And then are they above or below? But that was an increase of 26 points from last year. So that is fantastic. That really shows growth. And that's part of the reason that we were able to move into the yellow. And then for our African American subgroup, they're 69 points below standard. So again, this is where we really need to look at, it looks like our African American scholars are performing a little bit below all scholars, because it's 32.4 for all scholars and 69 for African American scholars. So we need to look and see, what are the barriers, what are the reasons that we're seeing that disparity, and how can we close that equity gap? However, if we look, it's an increase of, actually they increased more than the overall population. So overall, we increased by 26 points. In our African American group, we increased by 35.4 points. So we saw a lot of growth in that subpopulation. We just want to look and make sure that we are providing an equitable education for all of our scholars and paying attention to those subgroups. So again, great job in Los Angeles. That's excellent growth. And then in math is always a little more difficult across the board, not just at Compass, but in all of our across the state. So for all students, we were 76.3 points below standards. African American was 129.4 again, but they increased more than the overall population. So we really want to celebrate what we are doing right and how we are making sure in our personalized learning model. And really for Compass, because we are personalized learning, we're making these changes for every scholar, no matter what their ethnicity, what their subgroup, because we are making those adjustments for every scholar to help them and help them reach their maximum potential. It really is kind of baked into what we do, but we also want to be cognizant of the fact that we are providing that true personalized learning environment for all of our scholars, regardless of their subgroup. So then on to YOLO. YOLO typically does pretty well, and they are also in the green for college and career and chronic absenteeism, as well as the suspension rate in blue. Their graduation rate is in yellow, and their English and math is also in yellow. And we met the standard on all of the local indicators. So the interesting thing about YOLO, again, this is good, but I want to dig into the English language arts and math. And we know last year we really leaned into participation, and it really worked. I mean, I just can't appreciate enough all of the hard work that went into this from every single department. I know the STs working directly with the families, even our people in enrollment in all the different areas, like making sure that you're telling families how important it is that they get these assessments. And we tried, all different positive incentives to make sure that we were assessing our scholars. And it really did pay off. So again, we're yellow. And if you look at the points below standard, and the increase, we went up 24.7 in English and 21.4 in math. I just want to bring up one thing. We did increase a lot. We got up to 85% participation rate. Without the loss penalty, we're at 5.5 points below standard. So we're at 41 points below standard with the loss penalty. We would be at 5.5 without that loss penalty. And in math, instead of 82.8, we would be at 49. And just as a reminder, LOSS is actually an acronym for lowest obtainable scale score. So for our scholars who don't take the assessment, we have a 5% grace period. So anything less than 95%, those scholars are assigned the lowest possible score, and that goes into our scores. So last year, because we made such amazing efforts in increasing participation, it limited that loss score. 14 scholars were assigned the lowest possible score. And because of that, it took us from 5.5 points below standard to 41.1 points below standard, which is still really good. So, that's why we're in the yellow. But I'm just saying, I think if we continue to work with our families and continue to let them know like how important this is and provide those support, everything we did last year to, really raising that participation rate, we'll see ourselves in the green or the blue, I believe, in YOLO. So again, I just want to thank everybody for your efforts. I think I have the participation rates on here. In San Diego and Los Angeles, we got almost there. And again, from 71% to 85%. And I know I shared this at the last town hall, but I just have to share it again because it is really incredible that we were able to increase by that much. So thank you. Now, this is all important for us to, get better as a school, and it is important for renewal. So it seems really far away, right? LA and YOLO, they've been pushed out because we had all these extensions. And so their charter term, they both end in June 30th of 2027. But we will submit in August of 2026. So realistically, the data that we will use for those renewals are the dashboard that we just looked at from 2024 and the assessments that we will take in 2025. So all of that growth that we had in YOLO is really good. I haven't analyzed all of the subgroups yet, but if I just look at the colors, both LA and YOLO will be in the middle tier for renewal, but don't quote me on that quite yet because I still have to, that's only criterion 1. I have to look at criterion 2 and I haven't had a chance to do that yet. It looks like we will be in the middle tier, which is good. But honestly, by 2026-27 school year, we have no idea where we are going to be with legislation or what the rules are going to be. So stay tuned. But it is just so critical that we continue to pay attention to our dashboard. We continue to encourage our families to participate and for our scholars to do well, because that is a measure of our school, and it does make a difference. When people look at us and they say, wait, what are you doing? You've got, all these different things going on and the kids are home and how can that work? We are proving that it can work and that our families and our scholars thrive in this environment. And the numbers really show it. As long as we get them there to take the assessments, our scholars do really well. And so again, just want to thank everyone for your efforts in this. And as we're ramping up for our assessment in the spring, to just keep that in mind, keep working with your families. We'll work together on how to increase those participation and achievement rates and make sure that when those renewals come up, that we are in the middle tier so that we don't have to worry about potentially not getting renewed in those areas. Just a quick update on benefits. And so thank you to everyone for scheduling your enrollment. And as of right now, 100% of our staff have scheduled their enrollment, and it ends this Friday the 13th. So be careful. But thank you to everyone for getting that done. Just be mindful if you missed your appointment or you're like, oh, wait a minute, I haven't done it yet. It does end this week, but we've had a really great participation rate and very little issues so far with the whole process. So I know last year was challenging because we were adopting a bunch of new systems, and now it seems to really be ironed out. And thank you to Sophie and Jesse and their team. That's the team for everything that they've done to ensure that this process goes smoothly and that we are providing health benefits for all of our staff through next year. All right, and with that, I am going to turn it over to Lisa. So yeah, Lisa, I just incorporated yours into mine. So you don't even, I you can start talking and I'll just push the button for you if you want.
You're the best. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. We wanted to share out a new partnership with Amazon that we've just started to work on. It mainly involves the options team, but we want everybody to know what's going on, especially our uh, Vanessa Bayer and her team, and anybody who works with the scholars and their families. So the reason that we are even talking about this today is because we are very aware of issues that families have had in the past uh, regarding ordering and the timeliness of ordering and the complications of ordering. And we're doing everything we can to work through that and try and find a better way. So this is my own little word salad. I tried to come up with every word I could think of involving ordering. And it really involves so many departments, and everybody does their best with the tools that we have at hand. So we're trying now to provide better tools for the staff and for the families. And so that brought us to our partnership with Amazon and what they call Amazon Parent Solutions. So this is a way for families to have a streamlined ordering process, not for everything, but for the things that they order through Amazon. And it's going to expedite the ordering time and the delivery of the orders. But I do want, you'll see multiple times in my presentation here, all this, the linchpin of all of this is signed master agreements. Nothing happens without those signed master agreements. And as we know, the great work from Danielle Gamez and her team, getting all that work done, and the great work with the CP department, getting everything rolled over in ops, all that happens this year in May. And it will be give us a longer runway to help the family set up for success for next year. A few of the highlights of the parent solutions process is it allows teachers to set pre-approved lists by grade. And a huge thank you to Keelan and his team and Greg and everybody who's been working on getting those grade level lists, prepared, because that's step one. It also will allow STs to quickly review orders, click a button, and be done. There's no more invoicing and parents signing for deliveries and packing slips, and all that is going to go away because this is a pre-approved list. So this is Compass saying, yes, families, if you want something on this list, go ahead and put it in your cart and we will get that to you. And then for the finance team, the nice part is we are already subscribed to something called Pay by Invoice. So we have automatic invoicing through Amazon, which is also a huge help to me and my team. So in working with all the people I've already mentioned and a few others, we're trying to build out a timeline. I just want everyone to be mindful that this is a little bit fluid. You know, we're going to try and stick to it as best as we can, but there are a lot of moving parts and a lot of time off between now and when we want to roll this out. So it does sort of start and stop. But the goal right now, as I mentioned, is Keelan and his team are working on creating those grade level lists. That will include supplies and any curriculum that's available through Amazon. We have to submit those to Amazon, and then we will be assigned a project manager. And Amazon really takes on the bulk of the work here, which is quite nice. And they're already doing this with a lot of schools, which is fantastic. We're not the guinea pigs of this particular project. So, so once we have the list done, then we need to provide Amazon with the scholar emails by grade, and I'll be working with the IT team on getting all that put together. And that allows the platform to really start to take shape. And once that's done, we will be able to do what they call a launch test. And what we'd like to do with that is really involve any STs that are also LCs, because that will give us both the employer perspective, the ST perspective, and an LC perspective, and be able to capture a lot of really good data from those families. And I did speak with Keelan about that yesterday, and he's going to be helping me get all that set up. And following that, Amazon is going to do all the training. They will be training the staff in live sessions, as well as they'll provide tutorials and videos. And the final step will be in May, June, where the families will also receive training from Amazon in the same format, live training and tutorials. Once the MAs are signed in May, ordering can start, which is very exciting for everyone. We realize that will only continue through June when the STs are on break and the counselors are on break, because master agreements won't continue to be signed during that time frame. So what I wanted to share with you here is what another school's training video look like. So this may not align 100% with what our video will look like, but I just wanted to give you a quick view of what that tutorial looks like, and with the understanding that we will be tweaking it to be Compass specific.
Hello, this is a training for the John Adams Academy Amazon business account and how to order. First thing you'll need to do is go to the Amazon.
Sorry, are you hearing it okay, Lisa?
It's kind of quiet. Is that me or is that you?
It's me. Let me see if I can.
Okay, sorry about that.
I think that's as high as it will go. Let me check my audio. Oh, mine's up pretty high.
We can run through it. Anybody can have the link. It's in the presentation, so if they want to watch it, but you'll get to see the pages at least, and what that looks like if you want, or we can skip it and people can just watch it in their own time.
We could hear it. It was just a little low.
Okay.
Hello, this is a training for the John Adams Academy Amazon business account and how to place an order. First thing you'll need to do is go to the Amazon Business John Adams Academy shopping page. This link should have been sent to you in an email by Danielle, and this link will take you to the shopping page with the information provided here. Once you get to this page, the first thing you'll do is you'll be able to click on this tab here that will take you directly to the business account. When you click on this, if it takes you to a page that looks like this, you will just add your scholar's first name dot last name at jaaonline.org. This will then prompt you to sign in with your scholar's email, and you'll have to add the password that's been provided to you. Once you provide that information, it will take you to the Amazon business page, and it will take you to the page where you can, from there, click on lists up here on the upper right hand side. And it should show you the lists that are shared with you over here on the left hand side. If you are in the page, you can also click directly on the tile that takes you to the grade that you're purchasing on behalf of. So if you're purchasing for 11th grade, for example, when you click on the tile here, it'll take you to the 11th grade shopping page. This is a list that's provided for the 11th grade specifically. Once you're in this page here and you know that you need to purchase items for your 11th grader, you'll go over here on the upper right hand side and click on add all to cart. This will add everything that's in this list to your cart so that you can go through the checkout process. Once everything is added to cart, you can click on proceed to checkout, or you can click on the tile up here for your checkout. Proceed to checkout. You won't have to add a password. That's just for me, but you won't need to add a password ever again once you get to the account. And you'll click on the group that you're purchasing on behalf of if you're in multiple groups. And then for the PO number will be your scholar's first name and last name. You don't have to add a dot or anything like that or period. You can just add their first name and last name and then click continue. Your shipping address, it might have you just add your own address, or your address might already be in here, but you'll use your shipping address. And the payment method will be pay by invoice. This will already be set up for you. You'll click on pay by invoice. Then once that loads, it will show you just a quick synopsis of what you're purchasing. It'll show you everything in here, when it's going to get to you. And then once everything looks good on your side, you'll click on submit order for approval. Once the order has been submitted for approval, then it will go to the approver, and the next day they should approve that order. If you have any kind of errors, please visit this shopping page. It will probably tell you what you need to know here. So this is just a step-by-step of what we just went through. You'll proceed to check out. Reminder, if you don't add your scholar's first name, last name, or if you don't add anything in here, it will give you an error. So just make sure in the PO number you add a first name and a last name, and then submit your order for approval. If you get to this page here and you click on your grade, but it's showing as organization blocked, there's a way to remedy that. So I'm going to go back into the Amazon page here and show you how to get to that. So
Liz, you can pause it there because that doesn't affect us.
you click on our.
So I see a lot of questions in the chat, and thank you, Keelan, for helping manage that. Appreciate it. Again, this was just a tutorial from another school. I just wanted you guys to see how that would all work. Some of the steps will be the same and some will not. There'll be every ST will be a group administrator of their roster. All that will be all entered for you. So when you go into Amazon, you'll be able to see all your scholars' names in there. And then I don't want to give a definitive dollar amount because we haven't created next year's budget yet, but we will say that there will be enough funds to cover what the scholars need in each grade. And those funds will be removed from the OPS budget. So the total budgets will remain the same, but we're going to put some towards Amazon and some will remain in OPS. And we're still, working out some of those numbers. So, but the total amount will not change once we come to that decision of what that looks like for next year. We will come to an amount for Amazon and an amount for OPS to ensure that the scholars still get everything that they need. So the idea is that Amazon will have all this set up for us. So when you go into manage your group, you're going to see all your scholars, and you're going to see, I'm using an estimated number here. Please don't quote me or hold me to this. Let's say we give every scholar $1,000 in Amazon. You're going to see that scholar's name and their budget. And then as they order, you will be able to see what they have left in their budget. So you in real time. So you'll have a really good line of sight. When they place their order, the next step is it's going to come to the ST for approval. So I do want to just call out one aspect of the system is it's not quantity limited. So if you have a kindergartner and you all have decided to put crayons on their supply list, it'll show crayons, but the family could order 50 packs of crayons. So it's going to be on the STs when they're reviewing the orders to give it a good scan. And at that point, you have the ability to say, oh no, you only need 1 pack of crayons, not 50 packs of crayons. So the STs will definitely have oversight into all of that. And Amazon will be sending out the links to all the families to join. So that's nothing at the beginning where you saw this school handled that themselves. Amazon's going to take care of all of that for us, sending out those invites. And parents will come in and click on their grade. There are other options for other things besides grade level. We haven't discussed that yet. I'm open to it, but we just haven't gotten to that yet. Right now, we're just working on the TK through 12 buttons. So these are the 3 steps for families to to order. They navigate to the grade button, they add the items from the cart, add the shipping information, and submit for approval. That's what the family will be looking to, that's what we're looking for the families to do. Once that goes to, once that family submits that, it goes to the STs. So again, these are the items that are the lists are being built out by academics. We're trying to get these things to families much sooner than we were ever able to do previously. Supplies and any curriculum that's available through Amazon. If it's not available through Amazon, then the process is not changing from what it currently is. If that makes sense. And this is a work in progress. Nothing is written in stone. That's why we're going to do the beta test. That's why we're getting all the input and the feedback along every step. And again, I just want to thank Keelan and everybody on his team and everyone who's helped with this. It's been definitely collaboration, but I really honestly feel it's going to be a huge improvement for the families to get those things much earlier than ever before.
All right. Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate that. And, really appreciate you taking the time today to go over this with everyone. I mean, I know not everyone is necessarily touched by this, but really we all are because it's for our families, it's for our scholars, and it's for us to be able to really get to that goal of starting the school year with our families having everything they need to get started, and for our STs to really be focusing on instruction, focusing on some of those new families coming in who might need a little bit more help, because our returning families are like great. They've got everything that they need. They are going, they are teaching, as of day one, they are working with their scholars. So our leadership team, the cabinet and the directors, as well as our whole management team, is really looking at all the ways that we can improve our systems to help us have a easier start to the school year, right? We know we had a lot of challenges with the start to this school year. And you'll notice in that, actually, let me just go back to the timeline really quickly, if I can get it to go back. So I think one of the really critical things about this timeline is that testing in February and March, and making sure that we have STs involved in that process, that it really is looking at the process, giving us feedback, figuring out the best way it is going to work. And the final part of that is once the ST approves that order, it's done. Then you're done. Then the order goes to the family gets the order, and unless there are any problems, there's nothing else to do on that. And so that is really exciting. And I think, this is what we've been hearing from the STs, that, they need to be able to approve these orders. And so these are pre-approved lists. So we know that the things that they are ordering are already approved. They can't go outside of those lists. And well, they can't go outside of the list for this process, but if they do want things that are not on the list, then it will be the original process, so then it will have to get approval. And this is going to be a dynamic setup. We're going to be able to add things in the future and continue to have it grow. But when we get to that February, March, if we're having, our STs in there and we find things that it's like, whoa, this is not working, like that is going to be the time for us to say, okay, we might not be able to do this year, right? So all indications are that it's going to work, but we know what happens when when you depend on that. So we really want to make sure that we bang on it really hard, make sure we're testing every aspect of it, get that feedback, find out how to create really clear directions so that every ST knows exactly what is required, and it, to streamline everything and really make that process easier. And it's to support our program, to support that family choice, to make sure that every scholar is getting a personalized experience, and make sure that our system supports that in a way that supports all of our staff. So again, thank you, Lisa and team, for your forward thinking on this, for coming up with ways to improve our systems and hopefully make life a little bit easier for everyone so that we can really focus on instruction. So thank you. And I will stop sharing. That's the end of my presentation. Tammy, is there anything in the chat maybe that hasn't been addressed or some big questions that I can answer? I know we're right on time to go to the huddle next, but since the huddle is also questions, I think if there's any big questions in there I can answer, I'd be happy to.
I don't think so. Staff members are jumping in and answering, I think, the questions. So at least as far as I can see, if anyone wants to raise their hand, if you're not getting an answer, but it looks like everybody's jumping in.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we do have the huddle next. So if there's something that you have a question of, we can answer it there as well. Again, just want to really thank everyone for all of your hard work so far this school year. I know we're coming up on having some time off to relax and spend time with family. And I really appreciate all of your hard work in continuing to provide this amazing program for our families and our scholars. And I hope that you have a wonderful winter break. So thank you, everyone.